We're not talking about a TV show this week. We're not talking about a movie, a video game, nothing like that. Instead, we're going to talk about ourselves. In order to do that, we have to go back. Kyle's not here, but Jerry is. Send us back.
I'm back, baby!
Gotta get back in time.
All right, here we are. Almost 9 years ago, we recorded the first episode of the podcast entitled Pilot. It was recorded on August 30th, 2011, a Tuesday of all days, actually. Posted soon after on September 1st. Now, tonight's going to be a little weird. We're going to, of course, talk about dual redundancy. We're going to talk about how dual redundancy started, how it morphed into what it is today, and specifically what we talked about in that first episode, and if any of it means anything 9 years later. So yeah, Kyle wasn't actually there on day one, but you were, John.
I was.
And I want to ask you, what do you recall about that first episode that Mike Ledoux and I asked you to be a part of, and how we approached you, and anything you remember from that first outing?
Yeah, I remember that we recorded in, I believe, Mike's room, right? And I remember absolutely hating the chairs in the dorms and regretting sitting in the chair for an hour while you guys recorded every week. But other than that, I was glad to be there. It was fun. It was fun stuff. We got to, I got to listen to the episodes before they came out, and listening back to my editing, I wish I had done a better job. But that's why we grow and we learn. It's better now than it was then, and yeah, so much has changed. I mean, I got a lot of technical things that I know changed in my mind. I don't know if you want to talk about that, or if you want to talk about that later, or not at all, or whatever. But things like we had a different microphone setup. You guys used to hold the microphones. We didn't have stands. We used to record right into my computer, instead of doing it live. And, and at a certain point, we transitioned to recording separately, which I know we'll get to. But, back then it was live to, not tape, but live to tape, Yeah. I remember, I don't know which episode it was, but there were one or two episodes where I had a brief 30-second comment for a couple of things. I remember hopping out of my chair and running over to one of your mics to grab, talking about that, and I don't know. It was very different back then. A lot has changed, and I think for the better for the most part.
Yeah, man, I remember those. Was it Ithaca College Terrace 2 dorm room? It would be hot. I mean, it was still kind of the summer there. There's no real AC in those buildings.
No.
And you'd have to sit there, John. I would feel bad, because I mean, I think you've obviously gotten more into entertainment and TV and stuff since then. But I feel like those first episodes, you must have just been, oh my God, just sitting here for an hour listening to these two numbskulls. But
how could there be that much to talk about?
Yeah. 300 episodes later, we're still looking for things to talk about. But yeah, Mike and I were actually inspired by this guy, Rob Cisternino. Rob has a podcast, and that kind of got us onto this podcast track. We would talk during lunch, and our conversations would just go on and on. Next thing you know, it'd be like, oh, we just talked for an hour. We have, just about anything. It would go into one story. Oh, did you see this one thing on Twitter? Oh, did you see this? And we decided, kind of, arrogant of us, but like, our discussions are so great, we must record these. And, we were obviously inspired by him, and we chose this name, which I'm not sure is the best name. I always go back and forth on it because it's based on a TV production term. That's where dual redundancy comes from. It's pretty much when you take two microphones for the pickup of the same sound source. It's big in live production in case, one goes out, you have the other one. You're being redundant in case something crazy happens. But it's more so on the play of the fact that Mike and I shared a lot of the same takes and same opinions. So it's dual redundancy. So, but I think outside of that, especially when you Google search dual redundancy, you're not finding, at least right now, TV stuff. You're finding, engineering stuff. So it's not the best thing with that. But, oh, well, we kept it. It feels weird to change it now. And
especially now there's three of us, but
yeah, exactly. But we did 12 podcasts from that Terrace 2 dorm room, and then it became an Ithaca College TV show. And I think this is one of my favorite memories. It was in the winter of 2012, and we had just so much going on. Obviously, the crew expanded. I mean, for that you need camera operators, technical directors, floor managers. John, you came on, for the audio for that. Um, it was just so much going on. We needed a set. There was lights. We needed to do video graphics. Our in and out points had these crazy videos that we shot in front of a green screen. But yeah, we had professors on to talk about TV production. We had guests. I think we were talking about what's the best movie of the decade, or between these two shows, which one, we had like this battle, which one is better, and it was just a lot going on. Any memories from those ICTV days?
Yeah, that was the first time I really ever worked on, if you want to call it live TV, which wasn't really live, was the tape, but TV. And TV broadcast, audio broadcast, and all that is a completely different world than studio recording, which is where I had been. So that was my first real foray into TV stuff. And I remember one time patching everything at full volume into you guys. That was fun. I didn't know it was full volume because it sounded normal to me because I was behind the soundproof door. But yeah, other than that, it was cool. I remember having to go grab the mics every week and wiring you guys up. And we had actual wired microphones. And it was, I don't know, it was a completely different experience for me. It was a lot of fun, and it was interesting to do, and I'm glad I did it.
Yeah, I'm so excited, or so glad that you joined us for that, because when we did that, I'm like, well, he's not a TV student, but it's like we need him for this. It wouldn't be the same doing Dual Redundancy without John, and so I'm glad you stayed with that, and you've stayed with us since then. I mean, after ICTV, we did only like a handful. We really kind of, things happen. It was senior year. Mike and I had a thesis film. We had all this stuff going on, graduation, getting jobs, moving. We only did like 6 or 7 before August of 2013, episode 27. That's kind of when we started things back up. We for the Breaking Bad final season, we did an episode by episode watch leading up to the big series finale, and that led perfectly into Emmy nominations, and then it became this weekly thing. And we would pretty much often do 3 shows a week, I think, and it would not even be like premieres and finales. It'd be like, oh, this was a big episode this week, or we haven't talked about The Walking Dead or Glee recently, so let's just talk
Just
about
checking
those.
in on a
Yeah,
random episode of the series, whatever it was that week.
exactly. And now we just do 2, but we kept plugging along. Mike ended up leaving around episode 100. He still makes those Survivor appearances, here and there. John, you joined in at 101, and then Kyle joined full time in 114. What was that like? Because you were mostly behind the scenes. You would do the movie podcast with us, Back to the Future and Ghostbusters, but then you became a on-screen correspondent here. Any memories of that?
It was very different. I mean, I had to start actually watching the shows, and there even still there's some that I'm not caught up on that you guys, you're like, all right, we're doing the season 6 premiere or whatever. It's like, I haven't watched 4 seasons, 5 seasons, 6 seasons. I can't do that. But yeah, it was cool. It was cool. I feel a little bit bad that maybe I'm not as versed in entertainment as you or Kyle are, or you or Mike were, or anything like that. But for the most part, I'm glad to be here. It's it's fun to do. It's fun to talk about.
Yeah. No, I think, and I don't know. I think you've definitely. I've seen growth with you, just with your TV takes and your opinions throughout the years. I think even for me personally, I think this has almost helped us look at TV differently and the production differently, and just kind of see the industry from a different side of things. Every week it's a new story, new things going on. But I want to kind of go now to 2011, that first episode. I want to play just like the first minute here of the podcast, complete with a cold open that we used to do. So, all right, here we go. Send us back. All right, podcast meeting, roll call. Here we go. Dave, present. Mike,
present.
Murray,
Absent.
right, welcome to Dual Redundancy, the only podcast where you can hear all the latest on television and entertainment news with two hosts with exactly the same opinions. I'm one of your hosts, David Allen, and the other host is...
Mike Ledoux. What's up, guys? Podcast world.
Here we go. This is episode number 1.
Of many.
Of many, hopefully. I mean, we have absolutely no idea what we're doing here.
But we have nothing else to do with our lives, so this is a pretty good venue for us.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, this could be an absolute train wreck, but, you know, hey, at least we tried, right?
It's probably going to be a train wreck,
Yeah,
but we're anticipating that, and maybe you'll enjoy part of the train wreck.
Maybe the 4 viewers watching this or listening to this.
Yeah, they're not watching us.
They're not watching us. Hopefully not. We want those people watching us now. We got people in the chat. Let's see, a lot of people here tonight. Freya, Taco Chili, Muse Sticks, a lot of people in the chat watching. But what did you think of that, John? Did that bring back any memories? Is it a train wreck?
It's not a train wreck, but all I heard is into the mics. That we thankfully eliminated. I can't even make the same noises you guys were making. The voices getting quieter and louder as you moved closer and further from the mic. The intro just kind of cutting out at some point instead of fading.
I don't know if I just forgot. Oh, I mean, music. I think I forgot like a word in there because I mean it was still new. I didn't.
No, I'm not worried about that.
I do that every week.
And then there's no compression, like barely any compression. So the voices really are not. You know, especially something like this, you want your voice to be filling the space, basically, and it kind of, I heard them ducking down a little bit. So from a technical side, a lot has changed. Has changed.
I will say, you know, we had this cold open. I don't know what we were doing. We had the Flight of the Conchords band meeting. It's very specific of the time and our interest then. I don't know if anyone got that.
I didn't watch Flight of the Conchords until earlier this year. So even now, I didn't get it until you said it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And this is like, oh, wow.
It doesn't really work when I'm doing my own thing, but oh well. Other than that, though, I think it pretty much is the same. I mean, it's the same intro wording. I got the all right in there somehow. The theme music, we do Real and Spectacular later on. So much the same. Little different. I feel like, I don't know if you listened back to it. I listened back to the full show. I think overall it just felt slow. It felt like I was worried about like every word I was saying. Not anymore. I'll just say words. I'll just say things. I don't care.
As long as it's not a cuss, it comes right out, right?
Yeah, it was very calculated with every thought I had. And you know what? No, that's not a good podcast. Just say whatever comes to mind at any moment. But yeah, a lot of things did say the same, including this first segment. I never remember the title, but I actually remember it. We're not going to go to it, but it's the in and